Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur with We Write About Music, and today I am so happy to have back on again Clint Lightfoot. He has just released another just ridiculous and fun track. It's called Undelivered, Make Me OP, and I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Clint, it's been like 6-ish months since you were last on. How are you? What's news? Walk me through it. What's happening?
I appreciate it. Yeah, well, I've been busy, man. It's good to talk to you again. I really enjoyed our last interview and looking forward to
Same.
this one. Yeah, so this song is yeah, Undelivered Make Me OP. It's what I've been working on the last month or so.
Okay.
Before that, I've been working on my next song, which is Code No Matter What. That's the one about my kids. So I've been working feverishly on that song, which has turned me into a musician. So I never considered
How
myself a
so?
musician. Well, I didn't. I never. I always consider myself an artist, not a musician.
Okay, okay.
And by working on this song, Code No Matter What, I literally have 300 tracks in this song. A normal song may have 60,
Sure,
70.
sure.
This is 300. So I wanted this surreal kind of immersive sound, and
Yes.
I only could get better at everything by working so hard as I have on this. And I basically just stayed out of the world for the most part and worked on this and just try to get this as authentic as I can. And it's turned me actually into a musician.
Oh,
and,
I love that. It's actually super funny that you say that though, because okay, so when you listen to the song, just unassuming, not knowing what you're getting into, it truly feels like a piece of art rather than just like, here's the next pop song on the radio. Like
thank
there's
you.
so much happening and twists and turns and suspense and like it's this is the radio edit that I listened to, but was still like a little bit south of 6 minutes. So I don't know what the full
yeah.
thing must have sounded
yeah.
like on the cutting room floor. I
So
would love to get into that.
that's awesome. You get where I'm going with it. Well, so yeah, so this is what I call radio edits. And to me, I
Sure.
go there's radio I for every song I have, I have the full moon edition, which is basically the whole shebang, which is I have my song Crickets is really truly 15 minutes long.
Man.
Talk about twists and turns. That song,
Yeah.
I try to make my music. I'm always trying to go for, and I don't mean to necessarily do this, but it's like song American Pie by Don McLean.
Hmm.
That gives me hope. And in the a lot of the Beatles songs and like the Soft Parade by the Doors, these are songs that have a lot of twists and turns and they're long,
Yeah.
but they're still played on the radio. So
Sure.
I try to think ahead. I try to be somewhat practical about how I approach things. So I do usually, at least I'm starting to make a full version and a shorter version.
Yeah.
And so this song, Undelivered Make Me OP, the longer version was actually a Christmas Eve song. It's about being triggered around the holidays. Maybe you reached out to someone and they didn't get back, or maybe you were waiting on something that you're working on and it didn't happen the way that you expected
Sure.
at that time. It's basically a song about overcoming rejection. and
Okay.
and it's and in the spiritual sense, it's kind of like the universe teaching you to be patient and strong within rejection. And it's a reverse psychology on there. There's a part where after I'm saying make me OP, make me overpowered. What's
Mhm.
that OP
Right.
stands for? Overpowered. Which overpowered, by the way, OP is something that my kid says when he's playing video games, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, this gun's super over, well, like not gun, but like this sword is super
Sure, sure.
overpowered." He plays Roblox and Terraria and
Mhm.
Minecraft. So I wanted to take a play on that and say, undelivered. And undelivered could be a message that was
Sure.
sent as a text message, which is green. And if it goes through, it's blue. You know what I mean? And I mentioned I thought it'd be blue, but it's been green for years. So this song's kind of about overcoming rejection and making it make you stronger. Because in the end, as an artist, rejection is a daily part of your life,
Oh
and
my God. It truly never ends.
it doesn't
Like
end. It doesn't end.
tend to hear, I mean, maybe not for everyone, but you hear more negative than positive. People will
Yeah,
go out of their way to bring you down
100%.
and hardly ever prop you up when you might be deserving. I don't think they realize literally how much work goes into making something in any
Right.
medium of art. Doesn't matter what you're doing, but it's I don't know, man. It's a wild concept.
It is, and I think in the end it just comes down to a stage. You know, a lot of people are looking for a stage. So like if you're creating some sort of a stage yourself,
Mhm.
it's easy. Even barely successful people like John Mayer, like I remember him saying, you know, it's some things that stand out. You can see, you can hear a million positive things. That one negative thing, just it feels mean and it feels
Yeah.
undeserving, and you're like, you know, but it's meant to be that way. And I think the universe allows those things to come through, so you can just say, what, you're going to let one comment or you're going to let 10 comments ruin your day or make your day. And I think that's what it comes down to, is it's validation in some sort of form. And if you're going to be an artist,
Yeah.
you can't look for validation. The only validation you really can have is through yourself, by transmuting something inside of you
Oh
into
man.
something physical, and something that actually, like when I make a song and I have something to say, I truly elevate my spirituality. I
Yeah.
truly elevate my vibe. I'm vibrating very high after I make a song. So I'm like, I did it. I
Right.
said what I wanted to say, and I even surprised myself.
Yeah, you
So
created something out of thin air, something that like no one has ever made before. And
yes,
I actually, man, I like relate to that so much on a personal level because there's just, yeah, sometimes it feels like the world is out to get you, but the only person that can really validate you is yourself and within. I didn't realize how many themes that the song was covered or was covering, but dang, thank you for bringing it up.
no, I appreciate. Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I make a song, and I hope this doesn't sound very, I don't know. I hope it doesn't sound arrogant, but when I make a song, I try to make it look like one thing on a surface level. But I always try to you can peel away the layers and you'll find something else.
Sure.
I put a lot of hidden messages in my songs. I put a lot of hidden images in my artwork, and I like for people to kind of search for those. Maybe on that fifth time in that song, something will happen in your
Totally.
life. I'll go, oh, that's what he meant.
But that's,
And
I mean, that's kind of the music that I enjoy in my life. I think that, I don't want to like, talk crap on music that comes out today, but I feel that so much of it is very surface level and you listen to it once, you process it. But there's so many artists and bands that like you that just put so much work. And I prefer music that grows on me as opposed to the instant gratification. I want to listen something to the 10th time and hear something new that I couldn't hear before. It also comes down to the human brain being able to process so much at once, to where,
right,
like, you're
right.
familiar with new things and it opens up new things in a different part. That's the kind of music that everyone should be making, stuff that
Well,
lasts a long time.
I appreciate that, man. I think you're my target audience, because I believe that, like, I don't make music for everybody. I make music for me.
Clearly,
And
this is
and
not for everyone.
it's not. Someone will hear this and go, it's kind of cool, but it's confusing. What is this? And I want my music
Sure.
to be that way, because I want my stuff, like, I am trying to be authentic to myself. And if I make
Yeah.
music for everybody else, I would actually be, I might as well work the old IT jobs that I did, because that's
Yeah.
someone else's work. And if I try to make music to please other people, then I might as well go back to what I was doing. So if I can't be 100% authentic with what I'm creating, I might as well just stop it. Whatever I do, right or wrong, I from this day, like, basically when I create something, and this has started about a year ago. Whatever I do has to be 100% authentic. If I say something, if I mean it. If I put something on down, I mean it. It's like, and I have to be that way. And if I have to change who I am or change how I do things to please other people, then I feel like I'm stepping backwards, and I can't have that. I'm too
So
far in the game to
inspiring.
go back. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one that's putting in all the time and the effort and the energy. If it's not something that you enjoy on your own, then what are you wasting your time for? What did you step away from a former life to do? It just doesn't make sense.
exactly.
I love that.
When you do things authentically with a good heart and you put a lot of heart into something,
Yeah,
people will come around. I mean, if you listen to some of the Beatles
totally.
stuff, the Beatles stuff, they were the right place at the right time, but they were authentic. They
True.
weren't classically trained. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. They got four guys in a room, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I
No
think that's
one
what
knows what they're doing. No one knows what they're
no
doing.
nobody knows what they're doing. And that's what
Yeah,
makes it beautiful, because
I
it's
know.
real. It's You surprise yourself when you do that. Like, I listen to a song that I made and go, huh, I didn't see that coming, and I like it.
Yeah.
And I, that's a surprise. I don't know how, when I start, and how I finish is completely two different things. And
Absolutely.
and I always end up happy with the end results, and if I don't, I don't release it. So
That's beautiful. I could talk about this for hours, but I want to move on to slightly more pressing subjects. So, I think that for anyone that's going to listen to this, on the first, second, maybe even third listen, they're going to be like, "There's a lot happening. I need to take it slower. What am I listening to?" And I say that in the kindest way possible, in the most experimental way possible.
right.
I may have asked you this on your last song, but it just is important as today. So what is this? What label do you put on this? What style do you call this? What genre is this?
You know what?
No wrong answers.
I don't think you'll every time you ask me, you're going to get a different answer because I
That's good
continuously
though.
change. I when I release a song, I don't think, you know, sometimes I get thoughts in my head when I make something, and I feel like it's the universe saying, "Go, that's your
Sure.
brand." You know, my
Yeah,
brand is you. I think my brand is you never know what the hell I'm going to put out because I don't
that's
even know.
that's great
I
for anyone though, because they shouldn't expect. If you
Yeah,
do that from the start, it's not like you're like, yeah, I made country records for 15 years and now I'm making, glitch pop or whatever. No, like
right.
you set the expectations from the beginning and that's all anyone can expect.
Yeah, I'm multifaceted, so my music's gonna be
Absolutely.
multifaceted. I can't
Yes.
help it. If I'm pouring myself into music, you're not gonna go with that. Hey, I like to say my movie
Right.
is as you can categorize my excuse me my music the way that you can categorize the movie Roadhouse. Like, what the hell do you file that under? Is that drama, action, comedy? It's got everything. It's I
It
don't know
makes you
what
think.
Roadhouse is, but that's my music, man.
Yeah, it's
So,
still in your head. It still makes you ask the questions, and it's like,
yeah.
you're fighting for brain space and listening time and free time. Like if you can get under someone's skin in some way, like I think you're winning in some sense.
Yeah, and if I can get under my own skin, I always think of this, like if I like it and there's something that speaks to me, then the right people it'll speak to, and if it doesn't, it's not for them. And I think, Steve Jobs, he didn't make things to please, the market. He didn't make things to please customers in a way. He made things his way, and I'm not saying, I'm not going to put him on a pedestal too high, but I will say I liked his mindset. He's like,
Sure.
he basically created the market. He's like, no, this is how it is.
Right.
And the market will come to me. Like this is, and I make my music that way.
Yeah.
I literally will make things my way. And if it resonates, then, and if, universe wills it, it
Yeah.
will find its way onto mainstream and it will be the new way things are done because
Totally.
it's just that kind of mindset I have to have. Um, but yeah, I guess if I had to give you a short answer right now, where to categorize this under, I guess I'm going to stop trying to play it small. I guess I make epic music. I make
Yeah.
epic music. That's what I
There
go
you
for.
go. And we
And you're
can
going to
all,
get
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you're going to get my best. The only thing you can expect from it's like epic in art. You put them together. I'm always trying to go for something that excites me. And if it doesn't excite me, and what excites me is kind of epic stuff. I don't know. Like and if
Yeah.
in and I think ultimately after epic, I guess you would just say art. But the only thing you can really expect out of me is my best. That's if you're going to look for my next song, you're going to know I did absolutely as good as I could. I didn't try to please anyone except myself, my own standards, and this is how it came out. And it
It's
may
all you
sound
can do.
arrogant, but that's how I have to roll. I have to be that kind of strong. I have to be that kind of a
Yeah.
bull, when it comes to making my music because
It's
it's mine.
confidence. It's
I
confidence.
have
You
to,
can't second guess yourself.
right?
Truly,
And we
you
all
can.
do. We're all artists. We're like, does this suck or not? But then in the end, you go with your first instinct. You loved it the first time. Don't worry about the third. Don't worry about the fourth. Don't worry about what people are thinking. Just go with your first instinct. Your first
Totally.
thought is usually your best one. So
That is true. I also think, like, from your perspective, someone who's heard the song 1,000 times probably, going back and forth through it, what needs to be chopped or added, like, you lose perspective on it because you're
yeah,
so in it, and, like, I don't know, man, I don't know how your process works as a musician, but I hope that you have people surrounded by you that will be honest with you and tell you? Like, how does it work when you're like close to approaching the finish line?
Right. I do bounce it off to a certain extent, and I do play it for my brothers, and I do play it for some close friends, and I usually get their opinion. But there's a certain amount of I have to take inventory of what they're saying, and I have to go with what my instinct is too.
Yeah.
Because I think what's kind of fun about this song is that it is a video game sounding song. It's called Make Me OP. It's obviously kind of childish in a
Oh,
way. You know
totally.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
supposed to be. But it's also a song, if you watch like kind of my lyric video for it, it's also a kind of adult themes in there too, because I am adult.
Right.
I'm mixed. I have the I have the dream of a kid with trying to use somewhat of the practicality and the
Sure.
strength of as an adult. So I mix a lot of those elements in with my video and with my music. But yeah, it's a fusion, and that's who I am.
That's truly
and,
all it
and
needs to be.
this song's like kind of fun. It's kind of crazy, and it when I hear it, I like the dips and dives, and I like
Yeah.
where it goes, and it keeps my brain interested, and that's all I can do.
I there's nothing that I could say that was like more true than that. Like whenever I have these conversations, I never want to feel like I'm tiptoeing on things to say, but truly like it's a fun and crazy and ridiculous song, but it is no, it is art. Like it is art. You
You
can
get it.
call it whatever you want, but like it's an abstract painting of music and like you made it work. And
Yeah, thanks, man.
the fact that there's a longer cut of this is even more ridiculous. And it
Oh,
just makes me respect you even more for just like
dude, the
making it
longer cuts
happen.
the longer cut is ridiculous because
Yeah.
I'm literally the longer cut is me on Christmas Eve, and I actually released it. I only released it for Christmas, basically.
Okay.
It's me on Christmas Eve, and I'm on a spaceship, and I'm talking to my AI, which is the ship's interface, and
Yeah.
then I basically tell. Sorry, my brother's calling up at the
All
time
good.
of my interview. That's
All good.
and he's so obnoxious that he will keep calling. So because I hung up on him, he'll try to keep calling. So hopefully he does
Of
not. If he
course.
does, I'll shut off my phone.
Like any good
Um,
brother.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so he just threw me off track. But basically, I'm on the ship, and I'm don't want to be depressed like last year. So I have the interface talking to me like Ghostface because I want them to entertain me
Got
and
it.
treat me like family. And they basically mess with me and playing different movies on different bays. And each section
Sure.
of the song is originally different bays of the spaceship that I'm floating through, watching my favorite movies on.
Okay.
Because I'm in space and I'm
Yeah, yeah.
alone, and it's a song about loneliness. And at the end, it's basically the AI just messing with me, locking me out, and talking trash and making me laugh, even though I don't want to. That's kind of it's kind of like family, kind of like my brother calling me right now. If you
Exactly.
want to know who it's based off, it's like based off of this DB right here.
Nice.
This is my brother Cody. He's
Well, I
and
would
my
hope
brother Chad.
that, if you're gonna bounce ideas and, rough drafts off siblings, like I know what my brother would say, and I don't think that it would be a fully honest opinion. Like, how does that work with you? Like, are they like, this
Oh,
sucks,
they're
or they're
they're
like,
brutally. Oh
this
no,
is
they're
good?
brutally honest. They're
Okay,
brutally
that's
honest.
good. I would rather
It,
them be brutally honest than just be another yes person in your life.
Yeah, I don't I think it's the universe. I don't have a lot of cheerleaders. I don't, especially in doing this. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's crazy. If it sounds crazy because it is. I'm literally 44 years old. I was working at the probably the best children's hospital in the entire world,
oh
and
wow.
I was IT there, and I was not just
Mhm.
IT. I was IT for like the main application, and I was just about to make it to be even higher than I was, and I passed so many trials and tribulations there, and I left at the pinnacle. I could have, if I stayed there, I would have gone to the next step,
Sure.
but it didn't fulfill me, and I knew that I had a bigger calling. Like I knew that the universe saying, Clint, you have so much inside of you to put out there, and you have a lot of healing in your music.
Yeah.
And my perspective is different, and I can't help it. It's who I am, and I'm being called. I'm kind of quiet person in some ways, and I'm not in others. And I don't love sharing my perspective all the time, but I think my perspective is just that, another perspective that maybe you can gather from. I'm not going to cram it down your throat, and I don't expect you to just follow in what I say because I say it. I don't want you to. The universe does not want you to. They want you to be strong and to be discerning about the, if I can say the word, discerning about
Yeah.
what you take in, whether that's spirituality, religion, whether that's thought process, whether that's your plan for life.
Right.
Use discernment, you know. And I feel called to put my perspective out there in my music.
That's what it's all about. I have a couple more for you, and I'm like so happy with what we've talked about because this totally breaks the mold of my normal conversations. So thank you
Yeah.
just for being open and honest.
Yeah, man. I listen, nothing's
Yeah,
off the table, dude. You know,
same, same.
if I make a song that you think is not good, just I want you in my next interview, like, Clint, I wasn't crazy about it, but I want to hear what you came from, you know, where you came from this. And I
Totally.
like
That's why
that.
these are fun because it's
These are
like,
fun, man.
you know, get inside the
And
brain of someone who's
it's
just
all
figuring it out.
it's subjective, man. Music is subjective.
I
Everything's
agree.
subjective. And opinions are subjective. And that goes for your life and what
Totally.
you're doing and what your path is and what other people think. In the end, F them, but with love. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
my new thing. I want to say the full word, but
Yeah.
it's like if they don't see it, if they don't understand it, I still love you. You're awesome. But go F yourself because I know if this is about me, this yours is about you, this one's not about me, and I still love
Totally.
you anyway, and I wish the best for you. You know, that's kind of how
Yeah.
we roll.
Um, okay, so you've sort of detailed a little bit of what's gonna happen for the rest of this year, but do you have any like